Einfahrt, Ausfahrt, Gutfahrt. Fadge? Oh dear. Welcome to the centre of European guilt. Yes, we're in Bavaria. I wonder what we'll find. But first, an hour and 20 minutes of not making eye contact so we don't have to buy a scratch card. Welcome to Nuremberg, home of Albrecht Dürer and show trials. But to get to our hotel, we need to get on the vag. Anyway, we're very hungry. It's late and it's cold. Plus, it looks like it might snow. We definitely need to bring back city walls. Bollocks. It has snowed. Let's get to the castle. Welcome to Nuremberg Old Town. It's not one of those places you'd see on puzzles when you were younger. It is stunning, especially in the snow as well. And there's Albrecht Dürer's house over there. Unfortunately, he's not in today, so we couldn't see him. So Mrs. St. Harrison is finding us somewhere else to go to. After a precarious walk up the hill in snow and ice, we made it to the top, alongside some noisy Japanese. Oh, what joy. But at least the views are good, and there's a Christmas tree, of course. Now, the first stone structures of this castle were built in the 11th century under the Salian dynasty. Out the way, you two, also known as the Holy Roman Emperors. Then, under the Hohenstaufen Emperors, the castle was expanded in 1138 to 1254 and given stone walls and these towers. Lust and wine, count me in. Although given the weather, there isn't much in the way of lust out there by the look of it, only wine. It's time to go in the castle. I bet a few people have been chucked down there over the years. The castle ceased to have any real use in 1806 when Napoleon dissolved the Holy Roman Empire, and then, in the 19th century, King Ludwig I of Bavaria promoted the preservation of this castle. It's also been restored since it got slightly damaged during events during 1939 to 1945. I think we know why that happened, don't we? What's this on the ceiling? Now, this helpful old-fashioned diagram tells you what happens if you go out in London without your armour on. Like this. That'll stop them. It was then time to go up the tower, trailed by a fat American at the bottom of the stairs who was out of breath from just walking through the door. We made it to the top without passing out. From up here you can see all across Nuremberg, and you can see where the enemies are coming. After a quick rest, me and Mrs. Harrison decided to go and find a vending machine. I do hope it's not been graffitied. I'll have 20 JPS please. Actually, make that 40. In fact, I'm not going to have any. Nuremberg. we decide to cleanse our eyes in St. Sebald's Church. Sebald was a hermit from the 8th century who lived in Nuremberg and is now the patron saint of Nuremberg. This church, however, was built in the 1200s. Now Wagner, who we know is one of us, played regularly at this church. What an honour to be here. Now, to the surprise of no one, there is a sculpture on the outside of this church I didn't see at the time or know about, called the Judensaal, which is If you know what's behind this door, do let us know in the comments, because we'd love to know. And there's a tomb of St. Sebaldus, built in the 1500s. Now, if you've ever seen pictures of Nuremberg outside of a court, you'll know that this is the River Pegnitz, and this is a very famous view. It's a lovely place to visit. Now, if I could go back in time to when I was on holiday, I would just put my hand through these massive gaps with the camera, instead of being a retard like this. Mrs. St. Harrison over there, taking holiday photos. Please don't fall in, it's far too cold. That's a interesting logo. Do you ever feel like you're being watched? Ah, yes. Yes, I do. After this, we decided we're going to have a drink somewhere else, so we found a nice balcony overlooking Nuremberg Christmas market, which doesn't start for another 2 days when we're not there. It's a good place to people watch, and all you see are fat people, non-whites, and people on guilt trip tours. I wonder what this room is. Ah, thanks. Now, before we get on the ice train to Munich, Mrs. St. Harrison wants to play with the trains, but first I need to give her 20p to get it started. $20p later, it has started, and someone started a fire in that house. I wonder if it's one of Germany's new citizens that have caused all these problems in this fictional train world. More than likely. Eventually, Mrs. St. Harrison's 20p ran out, so it's time to get the ice train to Munich. A train which goes at 300 kilometers an hour and gets you there in just under 2 hours. We eventually arrived to Munich, safely of course. And what a lovely room. Who's that sexy fella? Oh yeah, it's me. Of course, it's 2 single beds pushed together because this is the mainland. An empty mini bar, but that's fine. But what do we have out the window? Over there are the tents from the Oktoberfest, because that's where it's held. You know, the main one. And over there we've got St. Paul's Cathedral and Munich city centre. And then over here we've got people at work. Unlucky. It was barely 4 o'clock and it was already dark. Ah, winter, aren't you nice? This is the Munich Rathaus, also known as the New Town Hall. They began building this in 1867, and now every Christmas it turns into a lovely Christmas market. Watch your pockets! And yes, we did have to walk through barriers to get into the market, because you know what it's like, cars have a habit of just driving into them all by themselves nowadays. Now, when we saw everyone crowding around the balcony, we thought we were going to get We Wish You a Merry Christmas in German, or a rousing rendition of Erika, but sadly we got this. It was just a boring speech in German and not the kind we like. Now this is Munich's Frauenkirche, that's cathedral to you and me, built in 1468, out of brick, which is why there isn't much in the way of decoration inside, because it's harder to carve. But then there is another reason why it's so plain inside, because the good guys in World War II heavily bombed it, so when they rebuilt it, it was a case of restoration over reconstruction, and much of the interior decoration like altars and stained glass were all destroyed. After all that church business, we decided to go to the courtyard of the Rat House. After going to the church, we decided to go to the courtyard of the new town hall, which was of course filled with more Christmas markets and, more importantly, glühwein. The video doesn't put across just how lovely it is inside and atmospheric, so we'd highly recommend you go. Try and go when it's not so busy, then you won't be surrounded by loud American tourists. Ah, the ultimate winter food. But it's still cold, so we went to the Royal Dolores bar underneath the new town hall and had a drink. And of course, even though I'm not in Italy, I'm going to have an Aperol Spritz. Thankfully, they're keeping the noise down over there, and the snow is holding off in Munich. Thank God for that. The next morning, however, it was sleeting. This would be lovely to walk around a grand old palace in. I hope it's not too cold at the tram station. Yep, it was freezing, and Mrs. St. Harrison was frozen. We escaped the cold and hid in Nymphenburg Palace, which was a Baroque summer residence which was built from 1664 by Ferdinand Maria of Bavaria and his wife Henriette Adelaide of Savoy, just to celebrate the birth of their long-awaited son, Max. The place is absolutely huge and you need a whole day just to walk around it all. Over the 18th century, it was expanded on and built by French, English and Italians, to the surprise of no one. It's always good to have a picture of yourself for every day of the week. Good work. This is also where the Swan King, King Ludwig II of Bavaria, was born in 1845. Oh look, some nudie ladies on the ceiling. And talking of admired ladies, this is the most famous room in Nymphenburg Palace. 37 women, all very different, and yes, there is one of them on the wall. All painted because the king found them beautiful. The Gallery of Beauties is King Ludwig I's favourite 37 women that he found around Bavaria, and he did a fine job of it. Not only did he chat them up and probably did a little bit more, he also got the royal artist to paint them as well. Lucky women. Now, it wasn't just posh women he had on the walls. Noble daughter, obviously. Actresses, yes. The daughter of a shoemaker who happened to be carrying a basket in the perfect light at 3:17 PM on a Tuesday. Get the painter in, she's going on the wall. He didn't care about bloodlines, only bone structure. This was meritocracy. If you were symmetrically blessed, you got immortalised. And if you had a bubbly personality, you had no chance of getting on this wall. Ludwig kept detailed files, not on state finances, but on cheekbones. He wrote letters describing women in terms that would get you nicked, probably nowadays. One diary entry simply reads, "Saw a girl selling flowers, face like a dawn breaking over the Alps, commissioned immediately. Absolute king. Well done, fella." No wonder he looked so smug. Hello, fatty. Please don't fall off while you're doing your restoration work. You'll cause more damage than when you started. After a quick dash through the shop with a happy Mrs. St. Harrison, it was time to have a wander around the absolutely huge grounds. Not too much of a wander though, because it is still freezing cold. Now what do you do if you've got 37 beautiful women after you? Well, you build yourself something in the woods to hide in. After all that walking around, we were hungry. It's very hard not to eat in a country where all the food is absolutely delicious. So where better to go than the Ratskeller, which is right underneath the new town hall. Check out those vaulted ceilings. This opened on the 1st of August 1874, just around the time the new town hall was actually built, and it was designed by George van Halberizer or something like that. The place is absolutely huge, and it's also like a maze. Don't worry, I'll pick up your kid's pram for you. You just eat. Anyway, we need to get to our table because you need a reservation for this place, and luckily we have one, surrounded by Bavarian artwork in all the rooms. Ah, lovely. Oh look, we're sitting near David Duke's table. The dragon on the outside, slowly climbing up to pull that Ukrainian flag down. Anyway, I need to go and drag Mrs. St. Harrison away from the shop because we need to go somewhere else of historical significance. There's plenty of those places in Munich. These are some nice looking buildings. They were built by King Ludwig I of Bavaria when he wanted to transform Munich into an Athens on the Isar. Now, who else made use of this area? Well, of course. Now, if you do visit here, don't point at anything in the sky because you will get in trouble by the people noted on this beer mat in the beer hall. Now, one thing we notice in these beer halls is all the staff are male, mainly, which is probably why there's no pissed up brawls or people kicking off or causing a fuss, because they know who's in charge. And thankfully, it's still not been turned into a glass monstrosity despite who drank there. Now, outside the Oktoberfest site is this commemoration to people who died in a bomb attack there in 1980, and even though they never actually got to the root cause of it, it is still noted on here as being right-wing terror, in inverted commas. The next day we had a 3-hour bus trip, to ourselves pretty much, to Hohenschwangau. Ah, the snow's back. That's it, ruined the view by bending over. We then went to a lovely spa right behind me here. Now, you can't take cameras in there, and also if you go into the saunas you're not allowed clothes on either. Something we didn't know and something we certainly weren't going to do. We are English after all. After leaving the nudie German sauna, having seen sights that will be etched into our eyes forever, it was time to head to our apartment and the lovely view we're going to get from our balcony. We are not in Schlagstein. Wonder who lives there. But of course it's too dark to see anything from our balcony at this time of night, so let's skip to the morning. There we go, it's Neuschwanstein Castle. Are you enjoying this 1 degree walk up deal, love?
It's freezing. It's beautiful. Schön, everyone. Wunderschön. Ah.
Getting chased by horses. Chairlift would have been nice. We eventually made it to the top of the hill without catching hypothermia, to be greeted with the view of Neuschwanstein Castle, the most famous castle in the world. Neuschwanstein Castle was built by King Ludwig II, the Mad King, they say, the one who was found dead with his psychiatrist, so make of that what you will. Work began on the castle in 1868. It was built as a place of solitude for King Ludwig II. Oh, how happy he'd be to see it's now filled with American and Japanese tourists talking loudly and taking photos. Now, the building was never actually fully completed because he died in 1886 in those suspicious circumstances, and surprise surprise, mere weeks after him dying, they opened it up as a tourist attraction. Now, unfortunately, because of the adverse weather, we couldn't go on the bridge over there, the Marienbrook, which is such a shame. Next time we'll go in the summer. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to film inside the castle, not even dodgy secret filming either. However, it is very nice inside and highly recommended, and when we win, we will finish off his job that he started. And there's the other palace in Hochwangau. We didn't get to go in that one, unfortunately. Next time, you can't miss it, it's bright orange. Anyway, we need a drink after all this walking around, and going downhill was so much easier than going up, unsurprisingly. Watch out for the horse shit. Even their museums look nice. This is the Museum of the Bavarian Kings. And right outside are loads of little ducks. We did actually throw them some food, and it turned into an all-out war between the three of them. After feeding the ducks, it was time to feed ourselves, and have a drink of course, in Brausterbel. Until 1918 this was the royal coach house and horse stables, where King Ludwig kept all his animals, which he loved, and it's probably some peace and quiet from the people calling him mad. Anyway, it's time to flee the mountains and our friendly noisy goats outside, and head back to Nuremberg station before we go to our last stop, a stop with a very interesting name. Platz du Opfer Faschismus. I wonder if we'll see any clues as to what that means. Ah, that didn't take long. It just so happened that our hotel was built on a very famous ground in Nuremberg, which in the 30s we used as a big meeting place where Germans could get together, hear speeches and give right arm waves to a painter from just over the border. This is a war memorial in the now heavily revamped park, which is huge and helpfully gives you history as you go around. Now this is the Congress Hall, built in the 30s to look like a coliseum. Unfortunately, it was never completed inside, as the Allies stopped all their plans. This is the Grosse Strasse, a huge road made of individual paving slabs, also in the 30s, ideal for cars to drive down and to have crowds of German people waving with their favourite painter on the way past. What it should have looked like, but what it actually looks like now. And yes, the lakes are pretty much dry now. Look at all these stands, left to nature and fenced off to stop people from enjoying history. I wonder what they face. Oh yeah, it's the Zeppelin field. Here is the stand which is featured in so many clips and documentaries, where thousands of people would turn up to see their favourite vegetarian. Plus you can't come up here without going up to the steps to where many famous people stood and looked out before. Now St Laurent's Church, which you can see up in front of you, began construction in 1243 and was paid for entirely by the citizens of Nuremberg who wanted something nice in town. Now this is one of the nicest churches we visited in Bavaria. It still had some of the original stained glass windows which somehow weren't blown out by the Allies. Hello Jesus. I think I want to get those candle holders for my house. Now this is impressive. This is the tabernacle carved out between 1493 and 1496 by Adam Craft, and he's very good at his craft. A 20 metre tall stone structure, entirely carved meticulously. I would try that myself, but it would look nothing like that at all. Well done. Now the church also has one of the world's largest pipe organs, with 12,000 pipes across 165 registers and 16 bells, the oldest going back to the 1300s. Anyway, I think it's time to go home now. Ireland's finest airplane is on time for once. Me and Mrs. St Harrison really enjoyed our time in Bavaria. How could we not? The centre of Nuremberg, Hochschwangau village, and once you pass through the Turkish outskirts and get into the centre of Munich, it's everything you imagine it to be. So get yourselves over there and enjoy it. Until next time, ta-ta for now. Auf Wiedersehen. If you enjoyed this video, thought it's like less shit than all the others, you can always buy us a cuppa on Ko-fi. The link's in the description below, and thank you in advance if you do. Just like UK Rob M, Illuminatus, Dawn Browning, August, David Marcus, Caribou, Lagatha, Michael Yacarino, Ruins, John Palmer and John D have all done this year, and Ragnar of course as well. Thank you all, and I hope you all have a great Christmas and a lovely New Year.